I cheated on my husband. I never thought I'd write something like this, but it's 3 a.m. I'm sitting on the bathroom floor shaking, and I can't stop crying. My husband just left. He knows. He knows everything, but I guess I should start from the beginning. Mark and I had been together for almost 15 years. We met in college. He was that guy, tall, blonde, confident, the one all the girls noticed. And me, I was energetic, loud, a little cheeky. We met at a student conference. He came up to me first. That's how it began. He was perfect, bringing flowers, writing little notes, waiting for me after class, helping me prep for exams. I felt loved, wanted, special. He proposed 2 years later, by a lake where we once watched the sunrise. Our wedding was simple but full of love. His parents adored me, mine adored Mark. We started out in a tiny rented apartment, scraping by. Then came our daughter, Emma. 5 years later, our son, Lucas. We bought a house, got a dog. He worked as an engineer in a large IT company. I stayed home, then went back to PR. Everything felt like it was going according to plan. We were a normal family. No major drama, no cheating, no public fights. He was reliable, I was caring. We raised our kids, took yearly vacations, watched Netflix at night. But over time, it just became flat. Not bad, not cold, just still. Like life hit pause. One day I realized we were just coexisting. No more holding hands, no kisses on the neck, no laughing till it hurt. I'm not blaming him. It was both of us. We stopped trying. We stopped being lovers. We became parents, roommates, co-managers of a home. Then came the silence, the emotional distance. That's when I got a new job. I was hired as a partnership project manager. That's where I met Eric. He was everything Mark wasn't. Emotional, charismatic, flirtatious. He didn't just hear me, he saw me as a woman. He complimented me, remembered how I liked my coffee, laughed at my jokes. At first I just laughed back. Then I started looking forward to our lunches. Then I let him walk me to my car. And then, you're probably thinking, how could you forget what you had at home so easily? I asked myself the same thing, over and over. I loved my husband, truly. But Eric woke something up in me, something I hadn't felt in years. He reminded me of the woman I used to be, the one I was at 20, with Mark, at the beginning. And I asked myself, why doesn't Mark make me feel that way anymore? Why can't I feel that spark with him? Isn't he supposed to be the one who sets me on fire? Maybe I missed who I used to be. And with Eric, I felt her again. I tried to push it away, told myself it was temporary, harmless, but I kept thinking about him, constantly. He was attentive, easy, available, and little by little, I gave in. Then came the business trip. 3 days out of town, a regular assignment, after dinner, and a couple glasses of wine. We went to his hotel room. It happened. Fast. No big discussion. The next morning, I felt guilty, but also strangely relieved. I felt alive, desired, seen. I thought that would be it, but I couldn't stop. It went on for almost 3 months. Secret, careful, just like in the movies. Texts, stolen kisses in the car, heated touches in a supply closet. And then, tonight, I left my phone on the kitchen counter while I tucked Lucas into bed. A notification popped up. Mark saw it. I hadn't deleted the old messages. I just forgot. When I came out, he was sitting at the table, pale, staring at the screen. I knew immediately. He looked up. What is this? I tried to speak. He got up, walked out in silence. I ran after him, begging. He only said, "You destroyed everything. You're not my wife." He slammed the door. I called. He didn't answer. Texted. No reply. I'm panicking. I don't know what to do. I thought I was in control, that it was just a fling. But I destroyed our life, our family, our love. I betrayed the man who was my home. What do I do now? He'll never forgive me, will he? I ruined everything. Update. We got divorced. It's been 3 months since Mark found out about the affair. Sometimes it feels like not 3 months have passed, but 3 lifetimes. The first 2 weeks were hell. He moved in with his brother. I had no idea where he was, who he was with, or how he was doing. We only spoke about the kids, short, cold messages. He came over to pick them up on weekends. Not a word to me. His eyes, like I was a stranger. I tried to talk. I messaged him, asked to meet, no response. Then came the divorce notice. I remember standing there, holding that paper in my hands, unable to breathe. It wasn't just a document, it was the final confirmation. It's over. At our first court date, I arrived early. I wore the dress he used to love, like an idiot. I hoped it would make something in him soften. He walked in a minute before the hearing. Black shirt, composed, distant. He didn't look at me once, just nodded when I said, "Hi." The mediation lasted 20 minutes. I tried to speak, but he handled everything through his lawyer. When the judge asked about the possibility of reconciliation, he said quietly, but firmly, not an option. I nearly broke down right there in the courtroom. Then, the paperwork, the signatures. We agreed on shared custody. The kids stay with me, but he can take them on any weekend. He insisted on that, and I agreed. We have a house, a mortgage. He left it to us. He said he wouldn't do anything to make the kids feel unsafe. When we left the courtroom, I tried to catch up to him, tried to say something. He turned and said, "I don't want to hear you. You no longer exist." It was the first time I saw true hatred in his eyes. Not pain, not anger, just cold. He used to love me. Now he despises me. And honestly, I don't blame him. The parents, that's a whole other story. Mark's mom tried to talk to me at first. She said she was disappointed but wanted to stay in touch for the kids' sake. But then Emma told her mom lives with another man. She stopped answering my calls. My own mother said, "I don't recognize you." She couldn't understand how I could betray a man like Mark. And I couldn't explain it to her, because I don't understand it myself. The kids, Emma has gotten quieter, withdrawn. Lucas asked, "Does Daddy still love us?" When Mark comes to pick them up, he stands in the doorway looking past me. Sometimes he says hello. Sometimes he just calls out for the kids. I tried to apologize, first with words, then with actions. I wrote letters, left cards. One day I even went to his new place. He didn't open the door. He never yelled, never made a scene. But that silence, it's louder than any scream. I still talk to Eric. He's around. He tries to be supportive. But I feel it. This isn't it. This isn't my world. This isn't my life. I destroyed everything for a man who doesn't hold my hand when I cry. He's just there. But Mark was my home. And now, I'm homeless. With divorce papers in my drawer and kids who look at me differently. Update. He hit my daughter. It's been 6 months since Mark and I officially got divorced, and I wish I could say that my life got better, that I'm happy with Eric. But that would be a lie. At first, things seemed bearable. Eric moved in just a couple of weeks after the divorce. It wasn't a well-thought-out decision. I just felt like I couldn't be alone. And he was there. He said he'd help, said he'd support me, said we'd build something new. But from the beginning, it was clear. We were nothing alike. The kids didn't accept him. Emma stopped talking to me. She sat in her room, headphones on, like she was trapped in a cage. Lucas looked at Eric with fear. At first, Eric tried. He brought gifts, asked what they wanted for dinner. But when he realized they didn't want to engage, he started getting irritated. Mark and I had a deal. He picked up the kids every weekend. Every Friday, he came to the door, looked past Eric, grabbed the backpacks and left. Not a single word more than necessary. One time, Eric tried to say hello. Mark didn't even blink, just closed the door behind him. Sometimes it felt like Mark wasn't even looking at Eric. He was looking through him, as if he didn't exist. And over time, I started seeing Eric differently too. He became sharp, exhausted, cynical. He started saying things like, "You're always whining. You're stuck in the past. Your kids are always unhappy. He didn't hit me, but he raised his voice, slammed the table, threw keys at the wall. And every time I pushed back, he reminded me, you ruined everything. You made your choice. Now live with it. So I lived with it, with my choice, in my house, with a man I no longer loved. And then came the moment that broke me completely. It was a regular gray Wednesday. I came home from work. Emma was in her room. Lucas was playing in the living room. Eric was already irritated. Something had gone wrong at work. I went to change. 1 minute later, a shout, a loud slap, then silence. I ran into the living room. Emma stood in the corner, pale face, red eyes. Lucas was crying. Eric stood in the center of the room muttering. She kept pushing. She was screaming. I just wanted her to shut up. He had hit my daughter, slapped her, across the face. Not hard, but enough. I don't remember picking up the phone. I don't remember dialing the number. Mark answered on the first ring. I said, "He hit Emma." He asked, "Did he touch Lucas?" I said, "No, just her." He paused, just for a moment, then said, "Wait for me." He arrived in 20 minutes, walked in. No yelling, no questions. He walked straight up to Eric and hit him. Once, twice, 3 times. Eric fell. Mark grabbed him by the collar and said, "You'll never show up in my kids' lives again. Not in any way." Then he drove him to the ER. Himself, sat with him, handed over the paperwork, got him checked in, and left. Calm, cold. Since then, Eric disappeared. He picked up his things the next day when we weren't home. Left a text, "No hard feelings, live your life." I hold no grudge, I just feel empty. I no longer live with a man. I'm not a wife. I'm a woman who made the wrong choice, who lost her home, destroyed her family, hurt her daughter, and the worst part is, I can't even say it was worth it. Update 1 year later. He's happy and I'm not. It's been a year. If you'd told me it was possible to live through this much pain and not go insane, I wouldn't have believed you. But here I am, alive, still living alone, in the same house, with the same rooms where we once laughed, where we had breakfast together, took showers as a couple, opened gifts under the Christmas tree, where everything once felt real. Emma and Lucas are with me. After Eric left, the kids became warmer, especially Emma. One day she just walked up to me and hugged me. She said, "I was mad, but I know you're still human." I broke down crying, just stood there, sobbing into her shoulder. She's grown so much this past year, so mature. Mark, he didn't come back, and he never will. I tried, once. 6 months later, invited him for coffee. He came, sat down, listened, then looked at me and said, "You're the mother of my children. I respect you, but I can't love you anymore. Whatever we had, it's gone." And I understood. Recently, I found out he's seeing someone. She's young, kind. Her name is Hannah. I met her when she dropped off Emma. We talked. And you know what? I can't even hate her. She's kind, smart, gentle with the kids. She's not trying to replace me. She's just there. And Mark, he smiles with her. He's alive again. Not the Mark I saw during our final years, but the one I met at the beginning. With her, he's himself again. And yes, it hurts, but honestly, it feels right. I live, I work, I go to therapy. I'm learning to be alone, not to replace what I lost, but to rebuild from within. The kids spend time with their dad, they're happy, and I'm glad. But inside, I feel empty. Every day I ask myself, why didn't I try to save our marriage? Why didn't I tell Mark what I needed? Why did I run toward the first spark, instead of facing the silence? I realized it all, too late. If you're hearing this, please, don't make my mistakes. If your marriage feels dull or distant, don't run. Don't chase passion elsewhere. Sit down, talk, try to bring it back to life. Real love doesn't vanish, it just grows quiet. But it can come back if you're willing to nurture it. I didn't lose my family because Mark was a bad husband. I lost it because I didn't value what I had. I mistook routine for indifference and flirting for love. Now, All I have left is silence and memory.
Reader's comment.
Well, that's the end of the story. This time we didn't hear from the one who was betrayed. We heard from the one who betrayed. And you know what? In some moments, you almost feel sorry for her. But let's be honest, she did this to herself. All those justifications. I needed passion. I wanted to feel again. They're familiar. But she could have just talked to her husband, tried to warm things up, started with herself. Instead, she took the easy route and paid the full price. She lost her family, her husband, her children's trust. Yes, it's painful. Yes, it's hard, but those were her decisions. What about you? What do you think? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.